What up, what up, what up, football fans all over the world? It is your boy, Mac the Giants fan. I'm here with my guy, the super dope co-host, Adam Costas. You all know what time it is. It's time for the real deal NFC East Round-Up. Punch that intro. What is going on? What is up, my guy? No Mets, no Nets, no Jets in the building. What's going on, my brother? What's going on? What's happening? How you feeling, Adam, man?
I am having a great time. It is beautiful outside, and we're here. We're talking football once again on a Wednesday evening, and exciting games to talk about.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. NFC East went out there this weekend, man, and it was a clean sweep for the NFC East this weekend, man. So got some fun things to talk about. Let's get right into it, man. Start with the taking from the top. I guess Washington led off the weekend for the division, hosting the Cleveland Browns, a team that we all now know is not as good as advertised coming into this season.
Garbage,
but
garbage.
nonetheless, the Washington Commanders hosted the Cleveland Browns, and they took care of business. Still hot right now at the top of the top of the division, man. What you think about Washington, Adam?
Well, you see what a quarterback can do for your team. It lifts you up, it elevates you, and that's what Jaden Daniels is doing. They are playing phenomenal football, as we know. As we said, and this is what I told people before, and people didn't want to listen to me. I said the Cleveland Browns may not be the team we thought they were when we played them, right? So, I just wanted to let people know that, and they came in, and they did what they had to do. They're the reason why I think that they're doing very well, not just because of the quarterback, it's just how they're winning these games. Okay. When we talked about the Commanders early on, right? We thought they were going to be 5, 6, 7, 8 win team, 5, 6 win team, maybe three, maybe less, 4 win team, right? New rookie quarterback, all these moving parts, blah blah blah, right? Even the first game they came out and they didn't look like dog shit, but they got beat down. And we're sitting here, and Giant fans were feeling themselves. And this guy has come in and played phenomenal for the last few weeks. Now, this game he got picked off. I know people talked about it. He got picked off in the red zone. It was a bad play that he made, but those things you try to get over. But there's one thing that I want to talk about is his anticipation is amazing. There was one throw in the end zone where he literally threw his guy open. The guy and the announcer was telling it too. He was like, look at where Jaden Daniels' eyes are. He threw the ball right before the guy could get it. And this is what we talk about when we talk about domination, right? They dominated the Cleveland Browns. They didn't even make it a contest. Cleveland wasn't even like Cleveland Browns looked bad. Like we played the Cleveland Browns, and we're looking at this Cleveland Brown. We could barely score 20 something points in that team, right? This Commander team came up and scored 40 something points on this team, right? They really are doing it up big. And Terry McLaurin, I applaud him. That man has stuck with this Commander team through thick and thin, and they rewarded him with Jaden Daniels because you could see how dynamic he is with a court. They had him on screenplays. They had a couple big deep balls to him, and they're really spreading around. Zach Ertz is having a rebirth. The defense is coming into their own. Bobby Wagner and number 4. I told you guys number 4 was going to do. Um, I told you that number 4 was going to do well, and he is. Thank you, No Mets. I think it's a different year for me. People are liking what I'm saying these days, right? Cliff Kingsbury is calling a game. You know why? Because one, he wants to be a coach in the league, and two, he had Kyler Murray, who has very similar skill sets to Jaden Daniels. Now, when I say that, I don't want people to be like, "Oh, he's not Kyler Murray," because that's what the first thing they do is they run. You said Kyler Murray in this. It's not. everyone wants to make it 2 + 2 = 4. That's not how it works. Okay. When you do Kyler Murray, all you're doing is saying, think of how he plays the game of football. I'm not saying look at his attributes or his stats. Look at the game, how he plays the game of football, the moving around and everything like that. Then take Cliff Kingsbury, right? And look what he's got. He's got a quarterback who is arguably a better passer. Now, the best comp I heard was on Twitter. A guy named Mason, got to give him credit. He's in one of the Twitter chats I'm in. He came up with a comp for Jaden Daniels, and I think it's phenomenal. Mac, you might agree with me here. Randall Cunningham. That's who he reminds me of. That's what he looks like out there on the field. He doesn't look like Lamar Jackson. He's got a better arm than Lamar Jackson. He's got better passing. He wants to be a passer. He reminds me of Randall Cunningham. If people know Randall, before he came into the league at college, he was a prolific passer. He was a very prolific passer. They kind of changed him in the NFL, right, a little bit. But then you saw what Randall could do with Randy Moss toward the tail end of his career. So that's what I think Jaden Daniels looks like to me, a little Randall Cunningham-esque type of quarterback, probably a little better passer. But I think the Commanders have done a phenomenal job buying into the system, believing in themselves. And again, I can't stress this enough. This is a guy playing above the X's and O's. When we talk about elevation, this is what we mean. When we talk about elevation, Giant fans, you couldn't see it in Texans because you weren't close to it. Be honest, the AFC they weren't featured everywhere, right? But the Commanders you saw every week because they're in and around your division. You always keep an eye on your neighbor, right? This is what elevation is: taking a team that was supposed to go nowhere and bringing them somewhere. And it's because of his play that they are where they are, right? That they're boat racing teams and running them out the building. And on the other side of the football, Bobby Wagner, not the same guy, but you could see that they're playing within the defense. They don't ask the defense to do much. Play within your zone, do your job, and everything will come to you. They don't have the best corners in the world, but yet they're still making plays.
Absolutely. I mean, I agree 100% with everything you were just saying. I mean, this team. I mean, they're just maturing right before our eyes each and every week, man. You just watch them, and they're find a way to win the game. No matter it's not always just necessarily the same. You're getting a little mixture, a little of everything. I mean, Jaden Daniels, while he's been phenomenal, I mean, he hasn't necessarily had his best stuff in the air the last couple of weeks. But at the same time, he comes out and he adds another dynamic what he can do with his legs. I mean, in this game, 82 yards. He led the team in rushing this week, 82 yards on the ground on 11 carries, and what they did on the ground in general. I mean, 215 yards against this Cleveland Brown defense. I mean, forget about it, man. I mean, this Washington Commander team is just like I said. I didn't expect this soon. I thought this was going to be more the Washington Commanders you got towards the tail end of the season, the back end. But we're getting it right now. I mean, this team got all right off to the races. I mean, other than that week one, the week one loss down in Tampa, this football team's been just rolling right now, man. So,
but you said
right,
it. You said it, Mac. In that first game, we discussed it in week one, and you said this team doesn't lie down, right? They don't give up. They play to the end. They're a different team than they were last year. And what we should have done was we should have looked at that and said, And I looked at that. That's why I think the Giants. I had the Giants losing that game, which they did, going to start the year, right? So here we are now, and it's the dynamic has changed a little bit, but you can tell they still fight because the same thing that happened in Texans. I'm telling you, man, listen to what the Texans said about C.J. Stroud, the defenders, and everybody like that, and start to listen to what they're saying. Even though he didn't have his best passing day, he still was able to carry the offense over the threshold, right? He was still able to put up 40-something points. They were able to he opens everything up because of who he is. The running lanes are there now. The passing lanes are there now because he is that dynamic. And when you have a guy that's good that can also pass and do these things, like I said, elevation. And you're right, they play hard. They're not going to back down from anybody. And I can't wait to see what they do this Sunday. As we'll talk about that game in a little bit, but I can't wait to see this guy mature. I hate to say that as a Giant fan with my Giant hat on, but as a football fan, I'm enjoying what I'm seeing.
Absolutely. And I just wanted to also go back, say what up to my guy Alex, man. Big Blue in the Bronx. Make sure y'all
Alex,
go and
what's
sub
up?
up the Big Blue in the Bronx, man.
And
And
like
what's
No
up,
Met
Daniel
said,
Barry? Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it.
yeah, prayers go out to all you people experiencing some type of natural disaster. We hope and pray that you get out safe. I just wanted to mention that we are thinking about you here. So just wanted to say that.
No doubt indeed. No doubt indeed, man. But we have to recognize and appreciate what JD is doing.
Well, right, but you got to think about it like that. If he's doing that right now as a rookie, right, and he's not at his maturity level, what are we going to be looking about in the next coming years? Like that's what you have to think about. Barring that he makes this through healthy, and I hope you do, Jaden Daniels. I want to see you a long time. I don't want your. There are certain quarterbacks I want their career ruined by injury. Yours is not one of them, right? And as long as and here's the mindset that I love by him. By the way, this is the mindset I love. They asked him a question about running the football, and he said, I don't want to run. I want to pass. I only run when I need to. And I say that is the mindset you need when you are a quarterback in the NFL. Your job is not to run, it's not to be a runner, right? And the fact that he already has good passing instincts and can scramble and can turn the field and is smart with sliding and running out of bounds, he's well on his way to doing good things. And that's why it's exciting to see. And this quarterback class in general, Caleb Williams is starting to come into his own. Bo Nix is doing well. I'm sure McCarthy would be the Vikings would be a decent team even with McCarthy at the helm. So a lot going on, man. You got to be excited, especially if you're a Commander fan.
What up, Zion, man? Zion says he wants to see him prove it against good defensive teams like the Ravens, but for sure looking good. I don't know. I don't know how. That's the one game I did. That's one game I did get to see early on Sunday, and that Ravens defense didn't impress me on Sunday, brother. Not one iota. I'm just saying. I don't know, but we'll see what Jaden does. It's gonna be a big game down there, Washington and Baltimore. We'll be
Oh,
talking about that for sure later, but we
listen,
will see.
I just want to address this. Okay, we like to move the goalposts. We honestly we know that Jaden Daniels has to play better against better teams. But right now, the people he's played in front of him, he's beating, and he's doing it in spectacular fashion, right? And so, while yes, they are not the greatest team, I don't think this team is going to the Super Bowl. What I'm all I'm saying is right now in front of us, he's going above and beyond what is should be asked of a rookie. He's doing things that veterans would be doing. So the fact that he's playing this well 6 games into the year is is trending well. Now to move the goalposts and say, well, I want to see him do it against a good defense. Well, technically, the Browns was a good defense, right? They were still a good defense, and he did it against them, and he made them look silly out there, right? I mean, the Giants were a good, are could be a good defense, I guess. He won against them. He was navigating that. So everybody that we put in front of him, he's done well against. Right now, are there tests? Right, there will be tests. I get it, but here's the thing, folks, we have to judge greatness in front of us while it's in front of us. We can't just keep moving goalposts because of biases or things like that. He's doing well now, right? And as a rookie, right now, he's done it against his opponents, things that we haven't seen yet. Now, Caleb Williams, he's done it against some good defenses, I guess you could say. But let Jaden Daniels mature. Let's not move the goalposts yet. Let's just enjoy him right now. I know he's got a long way to go. We know. I know he's not a finished product. I know. Everything that I've got. I don't let the season play out, and then we can make okay. These are some of the things he needs to work on. Right now, he's clearly their best player on the field. And sometimes he's the best quarterback on the field. And then we just got to call it out for what it is. And I just wanted to say that because it seems like we move the goalposts, even with the guy that we have under center, we move the goalposts, right? We never just call it what it is, right? So just let him be right now, right? And if he doesn't beat a good defense, that'll play out. You'll know that the records will show. The things will happen. So all I'm saying is for this weekend, just let the Washington Commanders have their moment. That's all.
Well said. I mean, I think that's a great time to maybe move it along a little bit here. But Washington right now off to the great start, 4-1, sitting at the top of the NFC East division, and I don't think a lot of people had it exactly like that going
On their
in
bingo
heading into
card.
Week 6. I'm just saying.
That's
I
the
don't
new
think a
term,
lot
on
of
the
people
bingo
had
card.
it. But let's take it. Let's go to the 4 o'clock window. Let's take it to the Pacific Northwest. Let's go out there, man. Let's go out west, man. Let's take it out there. New York Football Giants traveling out there to take on the Seattle Seahawks. Touchdown underdog against the Seahawks a week ago, if I'm not mistaken. Not a lot of people giving the Giants a chance. I, for one, was not one of those people. I said way back in May, when Giants gonna win this football game. New York Giants went out there and took care of business, man. Adam, what you got, brother?
I picked them last week to win as well. They had a good game. I will say this to get it off the gate right now, to get you guys off my back. Daniel played a good game. I'm not going to go out there and crown him anything. He played the best he's played in a while, and he's doing what the offense is asking him to do. He's still got his Daniel Jones moments where he trips and falls over himself and fumbles the football. That could have been disastrous. And he still has his boneheaded moments when he runs, which is, I don't understand. That's why I know a tiger doesn't change his stripes, because that stuff is still happening. Like, I don't need you to run over a linebacker to prove to me you're tough, bro. I need you to be healthy so I can cash my checks in the playoffs, if that's where I'm going. I mean, that's not what I think, but I'm just saying, if I'm a player out there, I don't need to do that. And so he needs to heal. His career is going to end shorter than it is, because every quarterback that's done what he's done has had a short shelf life. It's just Cam Newton. We talked about Randall Cunningham. We talked about, like, if you're reckless with your body, this is a violent game. And there were some hits in this game where those guys were taking their shots, right? The last hit at the end of the game where he runs over and gets hit in the back, like that you basically sat down, turned around, and let a guy's knee go right into your back, right? Thankfully, that guy wasn't hitting you hard because you had already slid. But imagine if someone was crashing in. You have a bad back. That is legit problem. That is not like a knee. Yeah, you can heal from a knee. A back doesn't get better with the hitting. It doesn't. Ask Troy Aikman. It gets worse. So try to limit that. As far as the offense goes, I don't know about you, Mac. I know you didn't. I don't know if you fully watched the game. I feel like the Giants have. It feels like even when the Giants dominate the game, they still have trouble scoring. They still have trouble moving the football. Now, they should probably have been up 7-0, but or 17-0, whatever. The ball fumbled. Eric Gray, you got a fumbling problem. Ran back 100 yards. So Seattle got on the board. So you're like, oh, it could waver. The Giants went back down and put it on him, put it in there, and then of course they moved the football up and down the field. But at the end of the day, they had 10 points. And this is where I'm telling you, like, we talk about domination, how you play. When you elevate everything, that shouldn't happen. If you're dominating that well, this game should have been over by halftime. It was not, because of many factors. The offense kind of stalling in places, right? The defense played a phenomenal game, but the defense has problems. I'll tell you what some of the defensive problems are. The defensive problems, that slide, that is true. That slide did come back, but I think the problem with Geno Smith, that's a big play. I forgot about that. But that let me get to my point real quick, and we'll address that in a minute. What I'm saying is that it feels like to me the Giants, for whatever reason, and I don't want to blame the quarterback, but we should have had more points. I felt in that game, and it's how they're kind of constructing themselves. The second thing is defense. You got to play better when the team spread you out, because I feel like the weakness of this is not the hurry up; it's the spread formation. Okay, if you watch what happened with Seattle, this should not happen. You should not give a team with 30 seconds to go, get the ball at the 30-yard line, they big bang boom down the field to like the 40-yard line and kick a field goal and tie the game. Okay, all that work that you did in the first quarter went for naught. Now, in the second half, the Giants did something they normally don't do. They scored a touchdown. But here are a couple of plays that I think kind of turned the tide to the game, right? Because I don't think the Giants' offense was that spectacular. They basically are ball control and like basically think about like their 2022 kind of offense. They're short passing. They'll take their shots. but they're really trying to wear you out, right, with time of possession and things like that. But defensively, the problem I'm seeing with the Giants, if you spread them out, you're going to eat them alive. And I'm thinking they need to figure something out, because that when Gino went hurry up in 50 seconds, they moved the ball downfield. And when he went hurry up in the late stages of the third and early stages of the fourth, they started to score. Okay, but there's a few plays that cost the Seahawks in the game, and I believe it says not as follows, but this is my list of plays. One is the fourth and one that he brought up. If he gets that first down, it might be a different story. Maybe they don't punt or something like that. The other is them going for it on 4th and 2, 4th and 3 inside their own red zone, because at that point, it should have been, they could have punted and probably relied on their defense, which was starting to get home on the Giants a little bit, starting to get some pressure on Daniel and starting to get some punts going. And the other play is Jackson Smith-Njigba. He dropped the pass at a critical moment. If he doesn't drop that pass again, who knows what happens. The blocked field goal is an obvious one that comes to mind. But the one that I think that no one really is talking about is the Metcalf fumble. And what I mean by that is, if they were going down there in the red area, if they don't get anything from there, they're going to try to kick a field goal. And I know ifs and buts we don't play, but if they made a field goal there, the scenario that we're talking about right now may be a little different. Maybe Seattle's going down for the win and or the tie. And this is what I mean by scoring touchdowns, right? The Giants kicked 3 field goals in the second half. 3 field goals in the second. They scored 1 touchdown, but they kicked 3 field goals in the second half. You're not going to win games with not scoring touchdowns. You got to score touchdowns. And that's what I'm saying. I don't know what is the problem with this offense that they can't explode, but they need to figure that out. Now, Daniel had some good passes here and there. He did good to Slayton. They moved the football downfield. Tracy needs to be the bell cow. I know people hear me out, people. If you want to have a starter or whatever you want to call it, fine. Put the starter tag on. If you want to start Devin Singletary so he can get his money for like games started, fine. But the majority of the carries have now got to go to Tracy. Okay, he's more dynamic. He's a better player. He's younger, and to be honest with you, I think Devin Singletary is a better complementary back than an actual feature back. And it might be a good thought process as this Giant team goes down and they're trying to ball control, because if you look what they're doing offensively, they're not trying to go crazy. Because Alex Big Blue in the Bronx brought up a point to me, and I'm going to land this plane so Matt can speak. I'm sorry. Alex Big Blue in the Bronx, we spoke the other day, and I told him about, what do you think is wrong with this offense, bro? Like, they weren't aggressive when they got the ball inside that 35-yard line when the turnover of downs happened. It should have been a touchdown. They didn't even throw to the end zone. They don't really even throw to the end zone, except if it's like a deep bomb or like a crossing route. Once they get inside the 20s, they kind of like always go for the sticks and underneath. And he said, Adam, he said, it could be because the Minnesota game. I said, what do you mean? He said that interception in the red zone might be haunting Brian Daboll, and that might be eliminating his trust in Daniel to make that play. And I said, you know what? That's an interesting thought. I didn't think that maybe in certain situations they don't trust the guy, because I'm looking at the grand scheme of things. Daniel's playing well enough to win, but not necessarily well enough for me to say, oh, I'm going to keep you past a certain time. I'm over Daniel Jones. Thanks for coming. But, I think you've seen the best of what he can do. But my question, my thing that I'm going to start to watch is Brian Daboll doing a masterful job of maximizing what Daniel can do and without also compromising? Because if you think about it, I'm looking at Daniel's numbers, and he's still throwing 6.4 yards of pass play. So it's not like he's throwing the ball, exponentially far. Like if I had the whole top 10 NFL passers up, right? And Daniel's number 11. Believe it or not. But you got Geno Smith 7.4, Dak 7.5, CJ Stroud 7.8, 8.8 for Brock Purdy, 7.8 for Kirk, Joe Burrow 7.9, Matthew Stafford 7.1, Patrick Mahomes 7.7, 8 by Lamar 7.6. Daniel is 6.7, and even like Jaden Daniels and Sam Darnold are both over 8, and even Trevor Lawrence. And then you look at Aaron Rodgers, and he's throwing 6 yards of pass play. And now I'm starting to see maybe the offense while it's doing well, maybe it's doing as well as its signal caller is going to take it. So I'm not trying to take anything away from Daniel. Solid game, doing what he needs to do. Playing within the confines of the offense. Don't fucking run anymore, or at least slide, or give yourself up. If you don't want to slide, I don't care. Just don't do that. Don't whatever that was. Stop doing. But you know, um, I do agree with this. I think he should still be a bridge quarterback. But anyways, Mac, I'm sorry I rambled on. There was a lot. I wanted to give props to him, but just also give you a grandiosos thing as to why the offense seems to still be kind of struggling, and what some of the holes in the defense are. But other than that, I'm good.
Well, well, well. Okay, I didn't get to see the game like you said. I didn't see one single play of it. All I got to see was some highlights, here and there wherever I can see highlights at. And but what I did grasp is that Daniel Jones played probably his best football game since the Minnesota wild card game a couple of seasons ago. I mean, let's just put it with. I mean, he
Right.
he looked like he was out there. I mean, he was dialed in. He was dialed in on Sunday from what I can tell. I mean, that
But
one
that's a
deep pass down the sideline to Darius Slayton, like that was a thing of fucking beauty. Like that's
yeah.
what that's what we want to see as fans. Like, can you do that consistently? Can you give us that consistently? And so far, he's yet to prove that. So now we got to see going forward. Can this guy be? I mean, let's face it. He's only had one absolutely terrible game this season. They haven't been great games necessarily, but he's only had one terrible game, and that
Oh,
was
this is the
obviously the
best.
Week 1 game against Minnesota. But this is by far is the best, and it's kind of been a steady improvement each week with them, to be quite frank. I mean, so I don't know. I guess I'm definitely still ready. I'm over the experiment as well. I'm ready
But
to move on
here's
next
my
next
thing
season. What
with that, with
Go
what
ahead.
you said. His best game, right? The offense still is what it is. You know what I mean? Like that's his best effort. And outside of the block field goal, so you can't take it away on the scoreboard, but it wasn't scored by the offense, right? If you took that away, the offense only put up 23 points, and in the second half, kind of went regressed a little bit. And I'm trying to figure out is if this is the Daniel Jones that we get all season. While it's good, it's not over the hump good. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense to me? It's not. How about
Yeah,
it's not Joe Burrow
I
good?
I
You know
see
what I
what you.
mean? Like,
I see where you're going with that, but then I look at the first drive of this game, and the New York Giants take it all the way down the field, and it's absolutely not Daniel Jones' fault that Eric Gray fumbles going into the end zone.
oh
I
no,
mean,
that's
Daniel
not his
Jones
fault.
did put you right, get you. He got you right down there, and
I'm not
realistically, the New York Giants should have came away with six right there. So
technically
I
right.
mean, things like
I'm not
that,
trying.
all things like that, also got to go into play. I mean,
Oh yeah,
it's Daniel
Robinson
Jones
has
guy, man.
problems.
No good, bad, or indifferent, man. It's always gonna bring. It's always gonna make
Well,
for.
no,
He's always
what
gonna
I'm
make for an
what
interesting conversation. Go
what
ahead.
I'm just saying. What I'm saying is like when I watch Jaden, I'm not trying to take anything away from Daniel, and I don't want people to think, oh, you're just a hater. I'm just quantifying if we moved on, what you're trying to look for. You're trying to look for a guy like Burrow who, look what he's doing, right? You're trying to look for something like Daniels who brings element, but because to me, the Seattle Seahawks shouldn't have been hanging around in this game. They shouldn't have been. There should have been a boat race to the end. But all I'm trying to say is if they decide to move on, he could be a bridge guy if he's playing like this. He doesn't play like this every week. He needs to play like this every week. But again, if this is what you're going to get at his best, that's fine. You could still move on, and it will. People will be okay, as long as you get, you know, more improvement. So I'm not going to nitpick. We won the game, and he played. He played good, and he's
Yeah,
played. He's played okay. He's played. I wouldn't say he's played great. These games, I think he's played competent football these games. This game, you kind of saw some things. You're like, oh, that's not bad. That's not bad. That's cool. You got it in you, Daniel. You always have one of those hurrahs in you. Like he played good in 2022 against the Green Bay Packers, right? He had a good Green Bay Packer game. and then we didn't. Then we saw DJ the rest of the way, right? So, he is who he is. There's nothing that's really going to change. What you're seeing now is what we've seen across. If he can consistently do it, maybe he'll be here. I don't know. I think if you're Joe Shane and Brian Dable, you've got to invest somebody in the pick because financially it makes sense. Because when you think about it, if you're going to build a team, if you think about the two teams we're talking about right now, the Commanders and the Giants, right? The Commanders next year, wherever they fall, right? Let's just say, hypothetically speaking, they fall with 6 or 7 wins. They're going to have very deep pockets now because their quarterback is on a rookie deal to now go invest and try to do the window of trying to build your contender, right? Meanwhile, on the other hand, DJ plays as well. He's going to ask for more money, right? So you're like, well, do I want to pay you more money? Or because now if you don't pay them, you're going to have a McKinney situation where you're not going to be able to pay certain other players. And so you're going to have this constant influx because you paid them so much money so far, right? So it really does come down to finances at the end of the day and getting a guy who can give you the same production. If I can get this kind of production from Jaden Daniels right now as a rookie, when the team is built, you'll take that. So all I'm saying is there's always room to grow. I'm over him no matter what he does, unless he brings a Lombardi home. To me, you can move on and no questions asked. And maybe he's upping his value for maybe if the Giants trade him. So it works many ways for the Giants.
Well, this is where I was going to go because I'm glad you put this up. He spread the ball around. He definitely spread the ball around a little bit better than what we've seen in the past, obviously, without Neighbors being out there. And I'm not saying maybe that's a good thing without having Neighbors. We definitely need that guy back in the lineup, for sure. But the way he spread the ball around – in this game was a lot better. He actually got his tight end involved, Theo Johnson, 5 targets, 5 catches. That's what I mean. That's what you drafted the guy for. So I mean, I think that was something positive from what I saw and took away from DJ from this game as well. And hopefully we can get Neighbors back in the lineup. He's still in concussion protocol. That's kind of makes me a little worrisome a little bit about this because it's been a Thursday night game.
He'll probably
when it happened. He's still in protocol. Right now. So right now, we really don't know. But I want to say shout out to my guy, Big Simple in the building. What's up, bro? I see your Washington Commanders out there balling, man. They out there balling, man. I got y'all quarterback, man. He got y'all cooking right now, man. So yeah, nice, good shit right there, bro. Appreciate y'all. Go sell up to my guy, Big Simple, man. If y'all haven't already, representing the Washington Commanders, man. But yeah, but also listen, we haven't talked about the defense in this game at all. I mean, at all, and Dexter Lawrence in particular, man. Dexter Lawrence, he's a game wrecker, man. I think it's official. You can just straight up what it is. He's a guy that can absolutely wreck a game, and I think he wrecked this game here for the Seattle Seahawks offense, man. I mean, he was just getting pressure after pressure after pressure. 3 sacks on the day for Dexter Lawrence, man. Out there just wreaking havoc in the middle of that defense, man. And also shutting down helping shut down that Seattle run game. I mean, Kenneth Walker, 19 yards for Kenneth Walker. I mean, Geno Smith let him with 72, and that was mostly off that one big scramble he had. So, I mean, great job up front. In this one for this defense. And like I said, in particular, Dexter Lawrence. I mean, Brian Burns getting the big sack on the 4th down on Geno. I mean, the New York Giants right now, you ready for this? Are leading the NFL in sacks, people. Yes, I did not stutter when I said that. That's what this New York Giant team is doing right now. They're getting to the quarterback and right now it's like it's paying dividends. It's not necessarily we're not winning pretty, but I don't give a fuck about that. All I care about is the win. I don't care how pretty or what it is. I don't give a damn. You don't get style points. No style points in the standings. All they care about is the W or the L. And that's point blank and period. Flott, Banks, big games from them also. You're right. They absolutely showed up. Can't leave those young men out, man. They absolutely showed up and showed out.
When did Kayvon Thibodeau hurt his wrist? Because I
didn't remember it happening in the game.
Well, then what was he doing?
I don't remember seeing that happen in the game.
Playing with himself or something like that? Like how do you go from playing and then all of a sudden on Wednesday he gets change of ties. What's that? Oh, yeah, change of ties. You're right. You're right.
It's just
Change of times, I guess what
absolutely.
he's saying. He will show. He will show up. But the thing about it is that the Seattle did something dumb. They put a rookie on this guy, and that's what you do if you're Dexter Lawrence. You eat that guy for lunch, and that's what he did. And I don't know. I don't know if going forward teams are going to do that. The Cowboys had a decent game plan against him. A few other teams had decent game plans against him. He got sacks against some bad teams in terms of like bad O line play, such as Cleveland and at the beginning of the Commanders game because Jaden Daniels kind of walked into some sacks. So you know, I think he's a good player. Somebody said the other day that he's the best lineman the Giants have ever had. I'm not going to go that far, but I do think he's going to be, when all's said and done, we'll talk about him in one of the as a great Giant defensive lineman that have come through here, like a Justin.
He's going to
Tuck.
find his way on that top 100 list sometime in the future. He'll find himself
Yes.
on the next top 100 list.
Yes, I do believe that. I don't know. I mean, he may even end up being a Hall of Famer. That's how much talent he has. From a guy.
Well, I think he's ascending on that level right now. He's definitely heading in that direction. I'm not going to take it all the way there quite yet, obviously.
He's got to get his sack numbers up because that will, even though he's wrecking the game, people don't look at the game being wrecked as a sign of progress, even if it is. Right? Leonard Williams has one of the highest pressure rates in the NFL, but he doesn't have, if he converted more of those into sacks, we'd be talking about Leonard Williams as one of the best defensive tackles of all time. But he's not. Even though he plays pretty well and gets those pressures, we don't see it. So if he can get a couple 12-sack seasons, that's what separates Chris Jones from Dexter Lawrence right now. Chris Jones, to me, is not necessarily a better player. He's got different traits and different attributes. But what is the thing that separates him and the stat sheet year in and year out? He's in 12, 10, 15 sack range from a defensive tackle position. Same thing with Aaron Donald. Now, if Dexter Lawrence gets that sexy number in the sack department, you're going to start to hear his name become in those even more talked about on the top. Like we said in the top 100, you're going to get him in the top 10 of the top 100 if he starts to get double-digit sack seasons, which is unheard of for a guy that size.
And then not just one more guy on the defense. I just want to give a little mention because he's starting to really, come around himself. The last couple big games, the last couple of weeks, man. Second round draft pick Tyler Nubin out there getting quite productive on the defensive side of the ball on that back end. He's coming up in there and making some good sticks. So shout out to Tyler Nubin as well, man. But great win for the New York Giants, man. Isaiah Simmons closing the deal with the big block field goal. And Bryce Ford Wheaton taking it to the house. So way to close out the game, preserve the victory.
Let me say this, and this may change how it is. This game was a complete win by the team, meaning all three phases played in unison. There were not many penalties and things like that. Everything was damn near, shall I say, perfect, right? And I think I know where I land now. So everybody enjoy this. I understand where I'm going, but I want to say kudos to Brian Dable on that, getting the team prepared. But I just realized something, and it hasn't changed my thought process. And we'll discuss it. If my thought process is correct, we'll revisit this conversation in a few weeks.
Absolutely, we'll check it out. We'll do that for sure. But yeah, good. Like I said, good team win for the New York Giants. But we guess we should move on right now, man. Take it to Sunday night, man. Kind of a clunker, man. Kind of a wasn't the most exciting of football games.
It's a lot of defense
contest. Sunday night, yeah, well, absolutely. They were definitely getting at it defensively, but
they were hitting each other. I mean,
taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I thought it was exciting. I thought it was an exciting game.
I mean, I don't know, maybe because I was a little tired, but it wasn't.
Well,
I look for the Dallas Cowboys like to see a lot more explosive. I don't know.
Give credit to that Pittsburgh defense.
That delay.
Pittsburgh defense was pretty good. So the delay probably hindered him. But let's break it down. I told you last week because I think you picked Pittsburgh to win. I told you last week why I thought Dallas would win. And the reason why is styles make fights, right? The Dallas Cowboys probably should have had more points than they did, but they had a couple red zone snafus, some turnovers by the quarterback, but somehow, some way, they found a way to win. That's what essentially you need to do, right? That's what we talk about. Wasn't pretty, as they say, but the quarterback got it done at the end of the game. What I want to say is Pittsburgh defense did a lot to stifle the Cowboys as well. They were in the backfield. They were running stunts. They were causing havoc. They caused a fumble turnover for Dak Prescott inside the red zone. Their offense, the Cowboys, again, you had a quarterback that is not a great thrower of the football, that is more of a runner, similar to what they see in Daniel Jones. And these Cowboys feast on quarterbacks like this. If you look at their wins they've had, it's all against quarterbacks that aren't very mobile and agile. That aren't very, they aren't the Lamar Jacksons or a passer like a Derek Carr and the run game that they have, right? Najee Harris is not that great of a runner. Justin Fields doesn't do much for the Cowboys, so they stack the box, they stop the run, and of course, Justin Fields is not that great of a quarterback. So in the moments that you needed him, in the money moments that you needed him, he didn't come through, and the Cowboys can feast on it. And then on the other end, they went down and scored. They gave the Cowboys a chance, and I thought it was interesting when the Cowboys got the ball with 3 minutes to go, and 3 minutes left in the game or whatever it was, and they had to drive like 80 yards. I'm like, man, are they really going to do this right now? Dak Prescott could take a monkey off his back right now, because right now that game was trending in like, oh, well, Dak Prescott cost him the game with an interception, because he did have an interception in the red zone, which is a killer. He did have that deep interception where I think he misread the defense and he just threw it, and the guy made an incredible play. And then the fumble. So they had 3 turnover-worthy plays, huge turnover-worthy plays. And then he comes down and does what you pay a guy that much money for. He wins you the football game. And it almost was dramatic towards the end, because that linebacker did something I never saw before. Literally jumped over the line and punched the ball out from the running back, and they damn near lost it. And this is why, you know what people talk about heart? Remember when Cam Newton was in the same position, the ball lying there on the ground? Look what Dak Prescott did. That ball was lying there right for the picking, and he dove right on that thing. He went all out. And that was a saving play. And then you had the third down play where you thought he threw the ball into the dirt. Turns out that his receiver went down with an injury early, so he kind of fell before the ball got there. Otherwise, that probably was a touchdown, right? And then he seals the deal at the end of the game by throwing the ball in the end zone for the score. And that's what you want. And if you're a Cowboy fan, it wasn't pretty. You got the win. If you're a Pittsburgh fan, you know, you got to figure out if Russell Wilson gives you a better opportunity to win the football game. Because I'm not saying he does things more dynamic, but sometimes you need a guy to stick a third down throw or just make better decisions. And Justin Fields right now is not that guy at the moment. So Pittsburgh will have a tough decision to make going forward.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's a Pittsburgh issue whenever they get to that. But for right now, I'm okay with you still, because Justin Fields might not look too pretty to us to the football fan, but fantasy football wise, still not doing too bad. And you know, your boy, I use him a little bit every once in a while. But that's another thing, Tom. Another thing. So I'm cool with y'all keeping Justin Fields out there and keeping Russ on the bench. I'm all right with that. But Dallas Cowboys, man. I mean, look, this team, the NFC East has been like, the whole league has been weird, but the NFC East in particular, man, because coming into this, obviously, Eagles, Cowboys, who's it going to be? Clearly it's a 2-team race in that division. Giants and Commanders with afterthoughts for the most part. I mean, let's face it. But now, I mean, let's face it. This division is wide open. I'm saying that, yeah. MacDaGiantsFan fan. This division is wide open. This right now. I know the Commanders right now are at the top of the mountain, 4-1. But we'll see if they can sustain that throughout the remainder of the season. The Eagles and Cowboys, they're not the intimidating teams that we all thought they were going to be coming into this season. They're not the teams that just look like they're just going to run roughshod over top of this division like we all thought coming into this season. They're just not. I mean, that's what it is. They're not. This division is wide open, and yes, even the New York Giants have a puncher's chance. right now.
Oh
Still, with the
well,
way that things are going down, with the way things is going
listen,
down. I mean, it's
0-2 in the division. So right now that's got to change. So, but we can get to that in the second because I think that there's a point I want to make when we preview the games that might reflect something that's going on in the division. But I agree with you. I think it's a two-horse race right now until said otherwise. It's right now the Commanders because they're at the top and the Cowboys, and we'll see what the two in the rear do. Will they make, like you said, will they climb back in? Because the road to the playoffs for the NFC East, I believe, has to be a division winner because I don't know if they're going to be two or three teams from the East like it's been the last couple of years. I don't. There's a lot of teams in there that are in this mix that, you got Falcons, you got Tampa Bay, you got, even the Cardinals, all these teams across the way where if the Giants want to assure themselves a playoff berth, try to win the division. That's the only way you're going to get a
look,
guaranteed spot.
they have to win the division. The NFC has to have it's division winner. Look what's going on in the NFC North right now. You got Green Bay, Minnesota, Detroit. I mean, it all three of
And the
those teams
Bears.
realistically right now. Maybe the Bears, but I mean, I think they'll be the odd ones out when it's all said and done. I think all three of the Minnesota, Green Bay, and the Vikings. I mean, excuse me, and the Lions could all possibly be heading into the postseason. I mean, the way things are shaping up right now. Still a little early, still a lot of football to be played, but that's right now looking a lot more realistic than a second team from the NFC East making to the
Well,
postseason right now. I'm
well,
just
let's
you
let's
still can't count the Falcons out, Falcons and the Bucks down there in the South either. So they're
right.
going to have something
So
to say about all of this too.
So right now, you got two teams in the South that are probably going to go. You have two teams in the North that are probably going to go, and you probably have two teams in the West that possibly are going to go. Now, if you were to sprinkle in, let's say the Green Bay Packers, right? So let's say it's Minnesota and Green Bay, and then it's the Falcons and Tampa Bay, and then you have the 49ers and the Seahawks, right? That's six teams. Now, record wise, you could argue and say Detroit gets in over, let's say, the Giants, because maybe the Giants win 8 games, right? And Detroit wins 9. So now you have three teams there. So what I'm saying is that these games you're gonna need to start to look at your opponents because you're in the same bracket. And the head-to-head tiebreakers are going to come into play real soon because, like you said, the NFC East isn't that great this year. And I don't think it's going to take more than 10 wins, maybe even 9, to really be the NFC East division winner, right? That's what could possibly be. But I don't know if that's going to get another team in from the East. So, like I said, the Giants, if they want to get to right now, they're in fourth place. Let's be real. In the standings, they're fourth place. The Eagles haven't played a game yet. But they have a better record. They're 500. The Giants are under 500, so they're fourth place right now. So if you want to win, you got to win the division. Plain and simple. Don't even think about the wild card scenario.
No, I'd say that NFC North is pretty. I mean, I'd say the NFC North is pretty solid, and I'd say the AFC North is also still. I mean, pretty solid with Pittsburgh and. Well, no, it's not as impressive as we thought it would be, but
A lot of
but at the
mediocre
same time, I
football
forgot
happening right now.
Cincinnati's thinking up the joint. I forgot and a little bit can't seem to get a win, and but nonetheless, we kind of got off topic a little bit here. But the Dallas Cowboys to me, they just been a weird team. Like yes, they got the win, and that's all well and good, and that's ultimately like what I said. That's ultimately what it comes down to. It's about getting the wins, not about how pretty it is. It's not about the style points, but it's just that this is a team you expect more from. I mean, you just don't expect them to see them scrimping and scraping and struggling to get to some of these victories. I mean, yes, they barely. I mean, Pittsburgh's a pretty solid football team, so I'm not taking anything away from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Up in Pittsburgh too, it's a tough place to go play. But like for instance, just the last time we saw the Cowboys on Thursday night against the Giants, that was a game that they could have very easily lost to the New York Giants. I mean, it's just this team is to me it's just something. There's a disconnect somewhere. Something's missing. In other
Well, their
words, like to me,
quarterback, their
something's missing
quarterback
with
has
this football
played.
team.
Their quarterback has played 2 good games at keeping his team in the game. So I don't know. I don't know. I see it around the entire NFL. Teams are hovering at 500, and I don't know if it's just the parity, if it's just how things are working out. I mean, they're 3-2. I keep telling you, the Cowboys are going to beat teams like the Pittsburgh Steelers, like the Giants, that lack certain things that you can expose. Right? They may not beat their opponent this week, and that's what we call a segue, people, into the previews of next week.
God
That doesn't
damn it, the
matter.
Phillies just scored. Fuck.
I mean, Pittsburgh's
I'm sorry.
offense is what it is. It is what it is, people. But like I said, the Cowboys, and we can preview that game since we're already talking about the Cowboys now and their next opponent. I think they play what? The Lions?
They play the Detroit Lions, hosting the Detroit Lions, 4 o'clock on Fox.
So if the Cowboys want us to if the Cowboys want us to be that team that we think they are, win this game. And now everything you erase everything that we talked about. Okay, if they come out and they beat the Lions, everything's forgotten. You know what I mean? And uh, I think right now what's happening is just
What's up, Wales?
their teams are in kind of transition, but you have such good players in transition that you're lucking out that the rest of the division is bad. So, for example, if the Cowboys lose and end up 3-3, and most of the teams are 3-3 or 3-2 or whatever in the division, right? It's going to be one of those things where, again, everybody's going to have a foot in this race, and it's just a matter of you taking care of business when you need to, right? And the Cowboys against the Lions is not a matchup that favors the Cowboys. I'll be honest with you, it's not. The past two matchups favored the Cowboys. This matchup's not. Good quarterback, solid run game, not what the Cowboys match up against. They match up against, like I said, look at the three opponents they beat. Cleveland Browns, absolute dumpster fire. The New York Giants, up and down football team. The fucking the team they just played last week, Pittsburgh. Their offense is not great, right? And then the teams they lost to is the Saints, who had Alvin Kamara thrown all over the field, and then they lost to oh God, who's the other team they lost to? Oh, Baltimore, who's railroading everybody up and down the field too, boat racing people, right? And they're a solid team. Now they came back in that game strong. The Cowboys did, but I'm just saying those are the type of teams they have trouble with. I wouldn't be surprised if they have trouble with the Lions because the Lions, something that was said that I didn't believe, the hangover effect of the Lions, right? We talk about Seattle. They came out, they got beat down by the Lions, right? The Lions are a physical football team. Will the Cowboys be able to handle that? It's in Big D. That might be an advantage. They might be getting some guys back healthy. But this is the team, if the Cowboys want to cement themselves going forward, that this win could help propel them forward. And the Lions, to me, are one of the best teams of football. I mean, they played like last week like a Super Bowl contender. They put up 42 points. So Cowboys, they got the work cut out for them right
Yeah, it should be. I mean, this is right now based off of what I've seen with this Dallas Cowboy team. I think this is a tough one. This will be a very tough one for them. I mean, I think they got they got their home crowd behind them at home, but at the same time, I think we're going to have to see a whole lot more, and their defense is going to have to absolutely step up to slow down this Detroit Lion offense, man. And
now.
I'm
They'll be
just
able
not
to
sure it can.
score.
I'm not sure it's capable. I mean, the injuries on their defense, I'm not sure like the status of these guys that's been banged up, but they need all their horses, man. I'm not sure they're going to have enough. And I just think the Detroit Lions gonna go in there and take care of business, man. Coming off the bye week, I think they go and handle the Dallas Cowboys in Texas Stadium.
Well, I will say this. I agree with you. I think the Detroit Lions are going to win. But I think the Cowboys have a chance because their offense is pretty good. I mean, Dak Prescott threw for 300 yards against a solid Pittsburgh defense and put two touchdowns on the board. So I can expect him to do something along those lines against Detroit Lions. If you look at what Geno Smith did, they're going to be able to get their opportunities. Like you said, now, will it be the defense being able to stop them? That's where this is going to be a key to their success.
Yeah, I mean, well, like I said, we'll see. We'll have to see. But this Dallas Cowboys team has been very Jekyll and Hyde like throughout this course of this early part of the season. We'll see what Dallas Cowboy team shows up. But right now, I'm putting my money definitely on the Detroit Lions in that one. Let's move on to a squad that we haven't talked about much today because they didn't have a game last week. They were on bye, had a much needed week off, and so they got a little healthy. Like they're getting a little healthier heading into this matchup with the Cleveland Browns, hosting the Cleveland Browns at Lincoln Financial Field. The Philadelphia Eagles hosting an abysmal Cleveland Brown football team, man. And if the Eagles drop this game to the Cleveland Browns, if they do, I don't want to hear shit about another motherfucking Eagle. I don't want to hear shit. But if they drop this game to the Cleveland Browns, I don't foresee that happening. I think coming off the bye week, getting AJ Brown back in the lineup, I believe. I think this Eagle team is going to come out there and absolutely destroy Cleveland, like everybody else pretty much has been doing throughout the course of this season. I don't see him have much. What I do want to see is Jalen Hurts kind of really step it up though a little bit. Jalen Hurts to me needs to show me that he's the quarterback that's getting the salary that he's getting as well. One is one of the highest paid guys at the position, man, in the league. So I need to see. I do want to see a little more from the guy. I think, full disclosure, I mean, I think he's a decent player, but throughout the course of this young season, I think he's been a lot of their problems. Myself, from what I've seen, I think he's been a lot of the problems on the offensive side of the football for this football team. I think without his big guys, their last game a couple of weeks ago, without the big guys out there, without AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, I think he really really struggled in that game against the Buccaneers, and I really need to see more from Jalen. But I think this week against the Cleveland Browns, I think that he'll be all right. They'll take care of business, man. The Eagles. What you got, Adam?
I think the bye couldn't have come at a better time for the Eagles. Obviously they went down to Tampa, and a lot of people, you know, were dealing with a lot of stuff down in Tampa. So they went to a buzzsaw last week. They got to bounce back. Thankfully for them, they have a team that is reeling it themselves in a different way. They're talking about benching Deshaun Watson, and there doesn't look like there's any hope in sight for that Cleveland team if they don't take the quarterback out and get somebody else in there. If the Eagles don't turn the ball over, because that's been one of their issues, their quarterback's been turning the ball over. If they give the ball to Barkley, kind of make it safe, do some play action, win this game, and then if you look at the quarter of your season, it is a chance for you to kind of look at your next two opponents and get some headway, right? You play the Cleveland Browns and then you play the New York Giants, right? If you can put it together these next couple of weeks, your bye week, to kind of shore up some of your problems and shore up some of your defensive issues, this is the time where if you're the Eagles, this is where you want to make your move, right? Against a wounded team like the Cleveland Browns, who have no real answer coming anywhere. Until I think they put in Jameis Winston. They just need to just rip the Band-Aid off.
Though?
But I don't know, man. Why is Hurts not elevating his team? Because he's not the guy that we think he is. That's probably why he's not elevating his team. I don't know. He's hurting his team right now because I think he's trying to play too much, do too much. And when you do too much, you end up doing what he's doing, holding the ball too long, fumbling, throwing interceptions because you have to make a play. The pressure's on. So we'll see if he can correct that going forward. And the Eagles have a chance to win. I think they're going to beat the Cleveland Browns. I don't know if it's going to be a blowout. I think they're going to beat the Cleveland Browns because I just think you're catching the Browns at the right time. There's a lot of turmoil going on. It's not like another 1-4 team.
Browns are a mess. They're a mess.
There's no other way.
They're a mess. There's nothing else better to put it. They look like the old Browns again. They look like the old Cleveland Browns again. That same old just shit show of a team that can't seem to get right. That's what they.
Well,
look like
when you have the clash, the owner and the head coach, right? One there's rumors that they want to bench Watson, but the owner wants to keep him in. Yes, you could say the old Browns are back. It's probably not going to end well for Kevin Stefanski. And he's probably going to get fired, and the next coach is going to come in and inherit a great defense and probably have to pick up some free agent quarterback somewhere. They could have DJ. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so needless to say, I guess we both got Philly here in this one.
Yeah, they better win. I mean, they got to win.
At this point, yeah, I mean, like I said, this right here, they lose this game, they lose all credit. They lose all credibility. There's no more credibility with this football team if they find a way to lose to the Cleveland Browns, based off of what we've seen the Cleveland Browns put out there throughout the first month of the season, man. So get that, see if the Eagles can get themselves back on track, man, and look like the team that people expected them to be. Because right now they are looking a far cry from that. Right now, not looking like a contender at all, to be putting it quite bluntly. But what we got next? I guess that would be the Washington Commanders traveling not too far. They don't even gotta get on a plane this week. They can just take the bus. They can just
Train.
take the They can catch a train over to Baltimore, man, for their game this week. And the Ravens. Too though, we're just talking about the division, just previewing the games this weekend, man. NFC East games. We're gonna get to the Giants game next. But this one here, this is a big one. This is probably one of the biggest matchups of the week, man. Two teams that are trending definitely in the right direction right now. Baltimore got off to the slow 0-2 start, but they done put on they done showed up the last 3 weeks and came away with three straight wins. Washington Commanders right now sitting at the top of the NFC East, where no one after the first month of the season would have had the Washington Commanders going before this season started, man. So, what you think about this one? I'll let you take this one first, Adam. What you think about this one?
Well, this is my upset special of the week. It's going to be a barn burner. I hope. Hope we get a good quarterback game. But the Commanders are in a good spot, right? They lose, they're still probably going to be in first place. They win, they get to pull away a little bit more, and they get to be talked about as the as the big dogs of the division. And we'll get to see. Zion asks for a good defense or a good team. Well, guess what? The Baltimore Ravens are a good team. You know, they had their flaws. They can be had. They're not perfect, but this is a game where you want to see how he fares. Do you want to win? Obviously, but if he comes out there and looks like dog shit the first time he plays the Ravens, okay, we'll see. Again, it's a young season. We got to take. We're seeing a lot of good stuff happening with Jaden Daniels, but again, he is a rookie, and I don't want to forget that too. So I want to see him go out there and kind of still play and see if they can put up points. My upset special is they're going to beat them. I'm just going with the hot hand. It's probably wrong. The Ravens probably come in there and kick their ass, but you know, this is a fun game for the first time. Washington Commander fans, you have a big game to look forward to. And they should be excited. They should be really excited. This is what you look forward to as a football team, especially as a young team like this. And it's going to be a litmus test to see how they fare against one of the best teams in the AFC and the NFL when it's going to be all said and done. I'm sure the Ravens will be, a 13-4 football team or something like that, or 12-5 or some 12-4, 12-5, 11-5, whatever the new records are. Right? They'll be that. So.
I think this is where the Commanders get cooled off a little bit, man. I think I still look for a solid performance from Jaden Daniels. The kid's been just lighting it up all season. I don't think that's necessarily gonna change. I just think Baltimore is going to just control this game with Derrick Henry, man. They realized it took them a couple of weeks to realize it, but they realized they acquired Derrick Henry this past offseason, man. And now that they've started to use him the proper way, you can see the difference in this Baltimore offense and the way they've been handling things, man. And Isaiah Likely, man, look, and I'm one of the guys that thought it, man. After that Week 1 performance, I thought he was just kind of like it was no way he was going to be able to sustain that kind of production. But they're absolutely wrong. He has become a go-to guy for Lamar Jackson, man. I think he's going to continue to make plays against this Washington Commander defense. I think this is the week this like if there's anything to complain right now about this Washington team right now, I think defensively they can be had, and I think the Baltimore Ravens are gonna figure them out a little bit, and they're gonna go in there and I think do some damage. So as much as I love everything I've seen from Jaden Daniels thus far, man, I just think it's going to be a little too
You're
much this
probably
week
right.
with this Baltimore Ravens football team, man. And I just think they're going to go in there and get the job done. I think it'll be still close, a fun matchup to watch. I think it'll be a great game, but I think Baltimore will get them ultimately in the end. What's going
Really,
on,
really,
Miz? Shout out to Miz, man. I hope you're doing all right
realistically,
down there in Florida too, brother. Hope you ain't too much into the mix with them storms and stuff, man.
realistically, probably the Ravens will win. For the show to be fun and just change it up a bit, let's see what the hot hand Jaden Daniels can do.
No, I mean, look, it's not like it's a bad pick, bro. The way he's been balling, I
I'm
just
just
think he
saying
might be a
upset.
little
It's
too
an
much this
upset
week.
pick. That's why I said upset pick because nobody expects them to go down there and win. Probably. I mean, most people are probably going to pick them, but you never know. You never know. You know. So
Absolutely. Look, man, they're right now they're one of the darlings, and they're one of the darlings right now of the league right now. The Washington Commanders. Everybody's kind of having fun, enjoying watching what this team is doing, as it's been quite impressive so far. But I think be a little too much for them this week. But we'll see. That's why they play the game. You know what I mean? That's exactly why they go out there and play the game. But let's get right to it. We got one more Sunday night football back in prime time. The New York Football Giants hosting the Cincinnati Bengals. A surprisingly not very impressive Cincinnati Bengals football team, 1-4, sitting right now at 1-4 in the standings, but still coming into MetLife Stadium as road favorites because the New York Giants are who the New York Giants are, I guess, and that's right now is a team that still does not have very much respect from the outsiders watching, looking in. But the New York Giants are a team that has, to me, from what I've seen, has improved each and every week. And that Seattle game right there was, I mean, that was just a complete New York Giant win, like you said earlier. And Cincinnati Bengals, they're really banged up. I know they have some big time guys, and Joe Burrow's a big time quarterback. Jamar Chase, big time wide receiver. T. Higgins is a number one himself as well. I mean, even though he's technically their number two. But I just think the Bengals have just continued to figure out find ways to keep losing these football games. And I think with the injuries, I think with the New York Giants have been doing well up front defensively. I think I can see Dexter Lawrence once again wrecking this game as well. I mean, wreaking havoc on the Cincinnati Bengals offensive line, which is not very good, by the way. So I don't know. I think the New York Giants do pull this one out, man. I think the New York Giants on Sunday night. I know Daniel Jones' history in prime time and all of that, but I just think that they pull this one out. And if they can get Malik Neighbors back in the lineup this week, that's an added bonus for this offense, man. And as long as Daniel Jones continues to spread the ball around like he did in Seattle, I think good things can continue to happen.
I think they should win the game. They have to win the game. I mean, if you think about it, right? They better not look at it as a trap game, right? Because they're 1-4, a wounded duck in the Bengals. You know, this you can't overlook them because the Philadelphia Eagles are coming down next week, and that's a big game, right? You're already 0-2 in the division, playing another division game. You know, you don't want to overlook this team looking at Philly. Now, I'm not saying the Giants have done that, but a win like that, an emotional win, winning a game like that, you don't want to come back down to earth. And don't sleep on the Bengals offense, okay? They've played pretty close games. Every game they played, they've been in. So you know, as much as we talk about, and I agree with Miz, we need to get the next two out of the next three to get to 4-4. Because if we don't get to 4-4, anything less than 4-4, the Giants aren't making the playoffs. I'm just being honest with you. 3-5 or worse, they're not getting in. If they get 4-4, there's a good shot that they will be having December football to remember. But anyways, what I'm saying is, don't sleep on the Cincy. They're going to put out all the stops. Their season's on the line. Like we talk about the Giants and their path to getting to 4-4, right? Whatever that may be. Well, the Bengals have a chance to kind of get their season on track with a game against the Giants. Then they play the Browns. Then I think they play somebody difficult. I'm not exactly sure. And then they play the Raiders. So there's 3 winnable games in there for them that, if they get off the mat here and it starts Sunday against the Giants, again, I'm picking the Giants win, but it starts Sunday against the Giants. You can't make any mistakes here, Giants. You cannot turn the ball over. This offense and the way Joe Burrow is playing. Joe Burrow is playing phenomenal football, MVP-like football right now. He has 12 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, 1,300 yards. He threw for almost 400 yards last week against a Ravens team that's pretty good defensively. Yes, our defensive line is good and will wreak havoc. I don't think Zach Taylor is going to do the same things that Seattle did. I think that's dumb. But the Giants have got to score touchdowns. Your ways to victory are play flawless football like you did. But when you get into the red zone, you got to score touchdowns. If you don't score touchdowns and you leave time on the clock, Joe Burrow's going to find a way. He's done it in every game. They played Kansas City hard. They've played every team that they've been in the games with hard. It's been a drop pass here, a penalty here. They lost 2 games, one on a bad snap and the other one on a penalty by their guy. Otherwise, we're talking about a different football team. Even though their defense is still atrocious, the outlook might be different. So for the Bengals, and I'm only giving you the Bengals angle. I've already told you I think they won. They're gonna have to win. But for me, don't sleep on this team. The Bengals. I'm not saying the Bengals are going to be good. They may come out and lie down, but I know Joe Burrow. He's going to have that team ready to go, and they're going to try to save their season. And if the Giants lose this game, I'll be honest with you, they're probably done. Every game from here on out, if they don't, like I said, like Miss said, if they're not 4-4 after 8, they're not getting to the playoffs. They got to win. This is a big game for both teams. Even though the Giants are 2-3 and the Bengals are 1-4, both teams could go in opposite directions, right? Because remember, the Giants play Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, 2 tough teams coming up after this game, right? But I just said to you that the Bengals play the Browns, and then they have the Raiders sprinkled in there as well. And I don't forget, there's another team in there that's a little they'll probably lose to, but this is a game that the Giants, if you want to be real, you've got to win. This is a game you may not be favored in, but you've got to win this football game. If you play like you played against the Cowboys, you're going to lose. Even if you play like you played against Seattle, you could lose, because the way you beat this team is touchdowns. They know how to score. They know how to score, and they do it in bunches. And you saw what Seattle did at the end of the game and turning it on in the end of the game. You saw what a lot of these teams do in the second half of the football game. Giants need to maximize their possessions. Make sure you come away with touchdowns. 4 touchdowns, you can probably hang in the game. Think that you need the equivalent of 4 offensive touchdowns. So basically try to score 29, and you'll be in this game. That's what you have to do.
Well, I mean, just go out there and fucking win, and for your home fans, goddamn it, just win one for your home fans. You got the two road wins this season. Let's put one together at home. Put a good game together at home in front of the MetLife crowd, man. Go out there spending all that damn money, watch this team play, man. Go out there and do it for them. I mean, look, I just think Cincinnati. I think we're going to win this game because of the defense. I think our defense is really just starting to really truly come alive. And I think people are still somewhat sleeping on what the New York Giants are getting done defensively right now. It's not even just the sack. It's even on the back end, it's getting a little bit more competent back there. It's still not great, obviously. We've seen DK guys are still doing down the field. I mean, getting things off, but at the same time, it just seems to be coming together a little bit more completely on that side of the football overall, and I think that's going to be the reason why they take the Cincinnati Bengals down on Sunday night.
I don't think the Bengals will be sleeping on the Giants. I think they're desperate. They can at 1-4 sleep on the Giants. You know what I mean? And I think if you could say the Giants might sleep on the Bengals because they're 1-4, what they just did to Seattle. The Giants have no right to do that to any opponent. But my point is, it's a week-to-week league. Just make sure that you have more points at the end than they do, you know what I mean, by hook or by crook, and start to build on something, build on this momentum, because you're going to need wins like this against a team like Cincinnati to help you in case you get down to that final couple games. This could be that game that gets you to 8 wins instead of, 7, or instead of 6 wins. This could be your 7th win. You know what I mean? Like, so try to win this game. I think they might. I think they have a good chance of winning the game. I'll pick them again. But don't sleep on Cincinnati. I think they're gonna. I think Cincinnati knows what's at stake. I think they're gonna come in here, trying to steal one from the Giants. I think they're not. Do they fear the Giants? Maybe not. Like Baltimore. No, but do they probably have to respect what the Giants are doing? 22 sacks leading the league. Yes, and so they're going to try to come in here and save their season. That's literally what they're going to try to do. And I think they're going to try to pull out all the stops, whether that's blitz every down, do something. They're going to try to, because remember, if they're going down and scoring touchdowns and you're going down and scoring field goals, that could be the difference. The Giants have to score. You can't do what you did against the Cowboys or the Commanders, and missing these things. You've got to score touchdowns. And the Giants need to figure out a way to put it in the end zone this Sunday against they can't do what they can't dominate the game and come away with 10 points, because I guarantee you the Bengals will hang around. You leave a team like that and hanging around with that offense, they'll find a way. That's what they do.
Well, like Miz said here, Azeez Ojulari looks like we'll be getting the start this week in place of Kayvon Thibodeau, who's according to Brian Daboll is week to week with the wrist that nobody seems to understand. Don't know when this wrist injury occurred, but Azeez Ojulari, man, has an opportunity right now to get back, I think, to really fall back into the good graces with this coaching staff. And I think it could be interesting out there, him and Brian Burns, man, getting after it. As we know, healthy Azeez Ojulari can at times be a very relentless pass rusher, man. So I gotta say, once again, I'm just gonna say that side of football, I hit between those two on the outside, on the edge, and Dexter Lawrence in the middle, man. I think it's going to be a tough night for Joe Burrow. Even though he gets the ball out quick, he has phenomenal receiver talent to throw the ball to. But I just think we're going to make it he's going to have a tough night dealing with the New York Giant pass rush, and it's going to be a difference in this game. Also, another comment I wanted to go to is Big Simple right here. The Bengals don't gain pressure. That's another good point right there. The Bengals do not create much pressure, man. So this is an opportunity for this offensive line for the New York Giants to once again make a statement as a much improved group that they are this season. And I think they have an opportunity to go make a statement against a team that just does not that just hasn't been able to get any pressure on anybody all season long. Don't let it happen to you. Don't keep your quarterback clean, and you keep Daniel Jones clean. I mean, it's a good chance some good things can happen with him out there. I mean, no matter how you feel about the guy or not, you keep give Daniel Jones a clean pocket. He's still an NFL quarterback. He'll still make it do what it do, man. And I think the New York Giants have some opportunities out there, man. I think they really will on this Sunday night. I think the New York Giants really can go out there, should go out there and make a statement and get the job done, man. And as far as Tyrone Tracy goes, look, if you want to go ahead, because Devin Singletary is back in practice, if you want to go ahead and still start Devin Singletary because he's your guy for the coaching staff, go ahead and start him. But like you said, Adam, let's see Tyrone Tracy getting the bulk of the carries now. I think he's proven to be just a bigger playmaker, man. And right now, what he did, the spark he gave that offense on Sunday against the Seattle Seahawks, that's the juice this offense needs.
Let's be real, okay? Devin Singletary is a secondary running back. And yes, like he is their guy to start. Good, give him the start. But let's be honest, if you were to look at Tracy and you look at Devin Singletary, who's going to be here probably for the future? Tracy. Devin Singletary, yeah, he signed a 3-year deal, but that's not like a guaranteed deal. Giants can get out of that shit quickly. He was a hired gun. He was basically here because you got rid of Barkley and you needed a playmaker, or you needed some type of competent running back there because you didn't want to rely on a 5th-round pick. Well, guess what? Tracy is a little more talented than Devin Singletary, and you got to get him the ball because he needs to grow. But this point about here, signing McKinney had nothing to do with signing the O-line. It's because of Daniel Jones's contract is why we don't have McKinney or Barkley. Plain and simple. It has nothing to do with him buying the O-line. He was going to get the O-line anyways. It was either Brian Burns or something else. The reason why they didn't sign him is because the contract that they made. Now, again, we're not really talking about that, but if you want to talk about schematics, that's the reason why. And well, that's another reason why I want him on the bench. Who cares? But it doesn't matter to me. To me, I look at it like this: guys like Singletary are replaceable. Guys like Tracy are not. They're on your team. They're going to be developing. Why not develop him? And I don't need to see Eric Gray anymore. That guy's a bum. Okay. Give me Turbo Miller and, let me see him. He needs some juice. Because what I think this offense is lacking right now is we need one of those big momentum kind of 60-yard runs. Let's get that going. Let's get that so get as many explosive people out there on the field. I don't know. Maybe get Jalen Hyatt involved this game. They looked, if you look at the game last week, the Giants targeted Darius Slayton and they targeted Wan'Dale Robinson a lot more. Yes, they did give it to the tight ends and the running backs here and there, and it looks pretty on paper, but they really predominantly focused their targets on Darius Slayton and Wan'Dale Robinson. Now, if Malik Neighbors comes back, one of those guys gets bumped down, and it's probably going to, again, be at the behest of Hyatt, who you invested a lot of money into. Get him on the field. Get him on the field. There are teams that run guys down the field. And look at what happened with Jackson Smith-Njigba. There was a guy chasing him. Our DBs are looking at him because they got beat for what they thought was a touchdown, and he's pretending to catch the ball, and those guys are running, and there goes Geno Smith with a 40-yard run, right? So, let's see what we got to do. So, this offense is very, I wouldn't say it's quarterback friendly, but they're doing a lot of short game. The reason they're doing a lot of short game is it allows them to open the playbook when you have a quarterback that can scramble a little bit like Daniel. What having the chains being 3rd and 5, 2nd and 5 opens the playbook advantage offense, right? What you don't want this Giant team to do is be 3rd and long, 3rd and 13. You don't want that. And just because, like you said, just because they're the Bengals, they are an NFL defense out there. They still have Trey Hendricks. They still have Sam Hubbard. They still get their sacks here and there. They're going to make some plays. They knocked the ball out of some. They made some fumbles. They forced some fumbles. They still have some guys out there that can make plays. Don't be the game that they make those plays on. All right, go out there and because this is it. The Giants get the 3-3. You have a season. You may not win the division, but at least the outlook is a little different, right? These next couple of games, you lose this game. Good night, the lights. You go back to talking about the team and the draft picks. But right now, let's see what we can do. KC ain't offering you no 3rd for Hyatt. You got to be kidding me. The best you get from that is maybe a 5th round pick. And you're better off giving them Slayton anyways.
Yeah, Hyatt's definitely not. They're not giving up a third for a guy that has basically no resume whatsoever. He has basically no resume.
You get Slayton's hot right now, right? He had the 100-yard game, blah blah blah. Let's say Slayton keeps playing well. That's when you call up Kansas City, depending on what your season is. And the Giants aren't going to do it because they're soft. But if they do decide to do something smart, even if they're winning, give Kansas City get a draft pick, get draft capital, right? Say, hey, listen, you need a receiver. Here's one cheap. You can have him for the rest of the year as a tryout. He'll help out your team. Bingo, bango. Give us a 4th round pick for Darius Slayton. Boom. But why? But Jalen Hyatt, I need at least 2 picks for Jalen Hyatt because that's what I gave up to get the guy. Remember, they moved up to get Jalen Hyatt. You invested capital to get this guy, and you're not using him. So then you're going to try to turn around and get a 5th round pick for the guy, or a 4th round pick. They're going to look at you like you're crazy. You know what I'm saying? You have a better chance of getting a 4th round pick for Darius Slayton than you are for Jalen Hyatt. I'm just saying. If I'm Slayton,
yes, Slayton has a resume. Jalen Hyatt doesn't. Jalen Hyatt really. He didn't really light anything up last season as his rookie, and he's done absolutely nothing. He still not even have a catch on the season yet. He hasn't even have a catch yet this season, does he?
Well, it's things. He's not getting the looks because obviously the 2 to 3 big guys are getting most of the looks. Mainly one guy is getting looks, and then obviously Wan'Dale in the slot. That is by design because those guys are the best tackle breakers, and it helps your quarterback who's not great, right? You do boom, boom. You give it to those guys. They break a couple tackles, and it extends your drive. So that's what you want to do. The reason why you do Slayton is it's an expiring contract, and right now it's a crowded room for Slayton. Yes, he'll be the number 2 receiver, but you didn't. If you're keeping Hyatt, you didn't draft Hyatt to trade him away right away. If you don't want him, you never should have drafted him. But you're not going to get any value. If you want value, you trade Slayton. You know, because that's just what they're going to look for. They're not going to be desperate for a wide receiver. They may not want it. Slayton can go there. He can get extended by Kansas City, go to a quarterback, have a chance to win a Super Bowl, instead of here where you have a team that's, probably trying to contend for at best a wild card spot. So that's all.
Yeah, Mosley, he does. He's had some targets. He hadn't been able to catch the football yet this season, but he's definitely had a few targets, a couple down.
They haven't really looked his way. Like in the Seattle game, he didn't get one target. He was on the field for like mad plays, but they didn't look at him. And I'm saying you can do more with a guy like that. That guy's a burner. He should be doing end arounds. He should be getting the bubble screens. He should be doing that. You can't tell me that he can't run a bubble screen. I play football, okay? I'm not that dumb. Coach can tell me to play. Hey, Adam, you're going over there. Great. Boom. Guy in the huddle. Hey, if Daniel's so smart, tell me what I'm doing on this play in the huddle. Boom. It works out. Like, yeah, does it slow you down? No, but you can work things out in the game where you can get this guy speed out there. To me, he's in the doghouse for some reason. I don't know if it was the interception that he didn't go for the ball and they're still pissed at him. I don't know if it's because the quarterback stares at 2 guys. I don't know, but we'll see.
Here's the thing. Remember the movie Remember the Titans at the end of Remember the Titans? The quarterback kid or whatever that got injured, the original starting quarterback kid had. What could he still do? He was still able to run. Goddamn! Remember we said to him, "You ready to run? Just get you got to figure out ways to utilize your weapons. Get the ball in his hands, create some open space, and let the kid do what he can do. And he can flat out run. He can burn. So, I mean, you just got to figure out a way. You can't, like Adam said, you gave up assets to move up in the draft to get this kid. You can't just let him waste away on the bench and use the route tree. Okay, is it? Does it suck that maybe he doesn't understand the route tree as an NFL wide receiver? Yeah, it kind of sucks. But at the end of the day, the kid still has some degree of value and has a skill set, and you got to figure out a way to use them. The great coaches, they use their weapons, and they utilize. I'm not trying to shortchange Brian Dable, but they that's what the great coaches do. You figure out a way to make this guy useful, however it is. It might not be the traditional way in which you wanted to, or what you drafted him to do, but you still figure out a way to make him be an asset to your football team. And
a lot of receivers have had go route. He's like Miz is saying this. All he has is a go route. So what? Deshaun Jackson ran a go route. Will Fuller ran a go route. Like, you can get away with a guy having a go route. If you can't run a go route, it tells me that your quarterback doesn't have the arm to throw it there, because you can do things all day. This guy's he ran a 4.3 at the combine. You're telling me this guy can't return a kick for you, a punt? We can't get him on an end around like what they do with Xavier Worthy? Like, give me a break, people. Like, we're making it seem like, oh, well, we can't do the route tree, means you can't do anything. No, he's out there running routes. Go look at the breakdown. People saw him out there. If he can't get off the line of scrimmage, then you move him in motion. That's what you do. You know what I mean? You find out if it's man or zone. There are things that we're talking about that are over granular, that are bigger than this. Yes, he might stink, but he was a Blitnikoff winner. You, like Max said, you invested in him. I've seen guys across the league be used in an end around situation, in a screen situation, in this, that, and the other thing. It's like when they told me Tony didn't know the playbook. Okay, so you don't know the playbook, so you can still make a package for him to utilize his speed on the field. Like, what are we talking about here? Is he a more explosive player than Slayton? I mean, it's like the same thing with Slayton. You're running Slayton. If he's running a go route, how come he's not running how come that dot shot that Daniel threw, the 30-yard bomb, which is a good shot, great throw. How come that's not a right down the sideline like a Brian Thomas did with with Lawrence. You see what I'm saying? Like those are the things that it matters. It goes both ways. But you can't tell me that this guy in the NFL with Brian Dable, who's done end arounds with Wandale Robinson, end arounds with this guy, that you can't get him to do it. Either he sucks badly at practice, like he can't do shit, or he can do something and you just haven't been able to utilize him because the targets, there's only so many targets to be had. Because I don't think knowing the route tree is necessarily preventing him from being there. You can run a deep post, you can run a 9 route. You know what I mean? If you want to tell me he doesn't understand the plays, but it's the same offense last year. The difference between last year and this year was one thing was different. One guy looked for him and the other guy didn't. You know what I'm saying? And he ran by people last year. So it's not like he can't do that. If you want to make him a receiver that catches this and does route tree, that's not what you draft Jalen Hyatt for. You draft Jalen Hyatt to take the fucking top off of defense. And if your quarterback can't do that to get him to him, then find another way to utilize him and his speed. That's all.
That's all. You just got to figure out a way to use them. That's what you do. You say, okay, you're not the guy we thought you were, but you're still a fast motherfucker. You're a great athlete. We're gonna still figure. You just got to figure it out, man.
Otherwise,
you got to figure it out. You can't just waste him, have him waste away. Can't have him just wasting away like that. It's insane to me that you just at this point almost you barely even use the guy, and it's crazy. But neither here nor there. Like we both said, we got the Giants. Both got the Giants winning this one. I guess you got the Giants. I got the Giants winning this one.
Yeah.
And Sunday night football in prime time, something that they don't do very often, but I think they will pull this one out for the home fans. Got any final thoughts before we wrap this up, Adam?
This is what I'll say. I'm gonna be with you guys and enjoy the game. I'm taking my bias out of the quarterback. I know who he is. He's not for me, but that's not going to stop me from enjoying the game because I feel like you get too caught up in one player, you don't see the forest through the trees. So I'm going to try to enjoy some of this, right? What that's going on. I know this team is not great. I'm not expecting big things, but go out and win a game against a team that you record-wise are better than. Go out and do it. And then you'll have some more believers coming down on your side. And then you can really start to get hyped because now you're in the season at 3-3 is basically 0-0. Right? Go out and get there. So my point is go out and prove us all wrong. Don't let this be the get right game for the Bengals because that's how I don't know if that's how they're looking at it, but they're trying to save their season. Don't be the reason their season's saved.
The reason why no Mets is because you utilize the weapons you have, all the weapons you have at your disposal. You utilize all of them. Everything you got, especially a team like this New York Giants team. You got to use everything you got. Hit them with everything. And don't hold nothing back, man. Like that's part of the issue with this team. Like we're not good enough to be holding anything back. Utilize everything that you got.
Because
like I said, the kid, there's something he can do. Like I said, and that running that speed thing, you get the ball in his hands in open space, man. Who knows what can happen if we ever could just figure out a way to do that. That comes with. Look, I don't know. Like you said, none of us are there at the practices. None of us know the severity of the issues with Jalen Hyatt and his coaching staff. But at the end of the day, I think we're from as far as we can see, our perspective, he looks like he's a guy that's
a different story.
Vastly underutilized.
That's a different story. See, we don't know if he's not good because he doesn't get the ball. So if you can't get the ball, you can't evaluate his play. Right? You can only evaluate his play on what he's doing. If he's running his route correctly on the film, right, in the film session, but he doesn't get the ball, that's not on him being bad. That's on where the ball's going. So you invested a high draft pick, get him on the field. That's all. And we can move on because the show's got to end.
Yeah, guys, we appreciate y'all once again hanging out with us for another edition of the Real Deal NFC East Roundup this Wednesday evening. Be back with y'all again next Wednesday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks once again. I want to just appreciate y'all hanging out in the chat, keeping it live, keeping it popping, man. Definitely make sure y'all go to my guy Adam Costas' channel, sub up, hit the thumbs up, hit the like button, man, on his channel. Come to my channel as well. Do the same thing. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel, man. Most definitely appreciate it, man. Support the channel. Support the Hardcore Sports Nation as well. Bunch of great guys in the sports community just grinding, man. Go support the Hardcore Sports Network as well. And one more thing to support is October. Make sure y'all go out there, do whatever you can. Support the breast cancer awareness. Try to put an end to this deadly disease, man. Figure out a cure. Just whatever. I mean, nothing is too small, man. Anything you can do to help, man. Do the little walks for charity, whatever you gotta do, man. Any way you can support, man. Just support breast cancer awareness all the month of October, man. Show your love, rock your pink, do it all, man. But make sure y'all tune in tomorrow evening, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the return of the Premium Takes podcast with myself, Adam Costas, and Zion Zenib, coming at y'all tomorrow, Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in our new time slot. And we'll check y'all out tomorrow, hopefully. But for now, it's your boy, Mac the Giants fan, with my guy, the super dope co-host, Adam Costas. And we'll see y'all next week, man. I'd like to thank you all for listening. If you was feeling this, please take time to subscribe and smack them likes. Feel free to drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to ring that bell so you know when I'm dropping new content. It's your boy, Mac the Giants fan. You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at Mac the Giants fan. That's MacDa Giants fan.